Topping news tonight, the Ministry for Grand Bahama staging a special majority rule ceremony this morning honoring heroes and heroines that played a role in the island's historical events and national accomplishments of gender equality, equal rights, women voting, and more. The Minister for Grand Bahama, the Honorable Ginger Moxey, was the keynote speaker, and that's not all. She and her team gave those in attendance a beautiful surprise, an exhibition that brought some of these historical events back to life. Jolanda Thompson-Everest reports.
The Ministry of Grand Bahama celebrating the local foot soldiers of the country in honor of Majority Rule Day. A special ceremony being held outside of the Harold Gregory building, where the Minister of Grand Bahama, the Honorable Ginger Moxey, recognizing 30 pioneers and thanking them for their commitment toward transforming the political landscape of Grand Bahama.
And that speaks a lot to the community that we have.
Inside the foyer of the Harold Gregory building, decorated in black and white photos of the father of the nation, Sir Lyndon Pinlin, the country's first prime minister, as well as those who fought for women's rights to vote, labor laws, and Majority Rule Day.
We stand on the shoulders of the pioneers who leveled the playing field for the generations that followed. They were heroes, heroines, and foot soldiers from New Providence, Grand Bahama, and islands throughout the Bahamas.
Minister Moxey declaring those that were responsible for change in the country were advocates and forces behind many historical events. She explains that the ceremony and exhibition demonstrates just that.
They were advocates for change and the forces behind the Burma Road riot in 1942, the labor movement in the 1950s, the women's suffrage movement in 1951, the formation of the Progressive Liberal Party in 1953, the general strike in 1958, the right for women to vote in a general election in the Bahamas for the first time in 1962, and Black Tuesday in 1965.
But for today's honorees, she also says that these pioneers are people with a special, memorable, and timeless story that includes their journey to not only creating a future for the next generation, but a nation that epitomizes the strength of Bahamians.
These wonderful storytellers provide us with a snapshot of the history of Grand Bahama. In their stories about life in West End, in the 1930s and 40s, the original settlement of Pine Ridge in the 1950s, the development of the city of Freeport, growing up in Pindus Point, Old Freetown, and more.
Although 30 persons were recognized this morning, the ministry will be honoring several more at a later date. For the Bahamas Tonight, the Northern Edition, I'm Jolanda Thompson-Everest.